Venezuela is a country with no human rights. Venezuela is a country which no one has liberty. Just to give you an example, the regime closed and confiscate all the media outlets in Venezuela. So we don't have a media to speak and to protest and to say what we want to say. So as students, we don't have that platform. Also, we don't have elections in Venezuela. Right now, Venezuela is a tyranny. So we don't have elections, we don't have media outlets, we cannot even protest. So the only thing that we have is to go to the streets and protest as hard as ever. And of course, they will be violent with us, but we need to keep fighting because otherwise we will lose our country.
We will get you on this show, talk about your dreams, aspirations, goals, whatever you want to discuss that's going to help somebody get better. How's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to the Unlimited Power Show. Today, we have two very ambitious individuals here on my show, and I do not introduce anyone to the Unlimited Power Show because I believe everyone should introduce themselves. We have Robert and Jorge here, and they're going to tell you, we're not even going to get into it just yet. So, Robert, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Robert Marriaga. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it. I'm a FAU graduate student, and I'm here as an activist promoting what's happening in Venezuela. People need to know and they have to be aware of the political repression and the economic situation that Venezuela is currently living. And thank you for having us here and express what we feel. Thank you.
My name is Jorge Jraissati and I'm from Venezuela. So we are here to speak and to denounce the human rights violations of the Venezuelan regime, a country in which all the students are protesting for more than 4 months now. And the regime just killed more than 100. The regime had put more than 5,000 in jail, and a country with basically no freedom, and basically a regime that is imposing a tyranny on my people.
So this isn't a light mission. This is very big, like Donald Trump says. This is huge.
Right.
You know, so what inspired you guys to take up on something really out of yourselves, out of, you know, your ability to control? Like, we can't control circumstances
Right.
like that. So what was that moment where you made that decision? Okay, we need to step outside FAU. We need to step outside what we want, and we need to make something and do something that's going to make a difference.
I mean, I have been in politics since I'm 16 years old because I come from a country in which we have so much misery, so much poverty. In my country, 8 out of 10 people are in extreme poverty. 5 out of 10 people, imagine the half of the country is in poverty.
Right.
So, of course, we're not going to change the world, but at least we want to try. At least we want to do things to improve life of other people. Just for example, we fundraised $7,000 last month. That's a lot. That's incredible for us.
Yeah.
So I've been in politics. I'm 16 years old before coming to FAU. And when it came to FAU, I was still active in politics in Venezuela. And I have been working for my people since I'm very young because I think we need to do that. I think if everyone contributes and everyone tries to improve not only their life, but the life of the whole community, of the whole society, and at least tries as hard as we can,
Right.
we will make a change.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
How about you, Robert?
Well, definitely as well. I've been in politics since a young age, and here in FAU as well. I was Speaker of the House, and I met Jorge my junior year, and we found a common cause that we could fight for, especially what's happening in Venezuela. It's a humanitarian crisis, and we as human beings, we should be paying attention to that. And that's why I'm fighting, because we are fighting for human beings. And what's happening in Venezuela it's not human. And that's what pushes us every day to fight and keep fighting for these people.
Venezuela is a country with no human rights. Venezuela is a country which no one has liberty. Just to give you an example, the regime closed and confiscate all the media outlets in Venezuela. So we don't have a media to speak and to protest and to say what we want to say. So as students, we don't have that platform. Also, we don't have elections in Venezuela. Right now, Venezuela is a tyranny. So we don't have elections, we don't have media outlets, We cannot even protest. So the only thing that we have is to go to the streets and protest as hard as ever. And of course, they will be violent with us, but we need to keep fighting because otherwise we will lose our country. So that's the social issue. Also, we have the economic issue. In Venezuela, our minimum wage is less than $30 per month. Imagine that. As I said, 8 out of 10 people in extreme poverty. So we need to do something. And we as students, we are fighting every single day, not for subsidies or not for politics. It's because of our dignity. It's because of our country. We're gonna lose our country. When you ask people on the streets why they are protesting, they tell you, hey, I don't have anything on the table. I don't have food on the table. I don't have human rights. We have violence on the streets. In Venezuela, we have 30,000 violent murders per year. 30,000. And 20 years ago, it was 2,000. So imagine the difference. So every 20 minutes, one Venezuelan is killed by the violence. And that's why we are fighting. And that's what is happening right now in Venezuela.
Well, definitely, what's happening in Venezuela is it's a crisis. For years, the government has repressed the people. Like Jorge just said, all the media outlets have been nationalized. They belong to the government. So they're not going to show on TV what's happening in the streets, the protests, the hunger. In Venezuela, people are not even eating. A country that's rich in oil, that has a lot of, it's just rich in nature. They have a lot of resources, and the people are not seeing these resources because the government has taken it away from them. And now we're seeing people eat from garbage cans. Can you believe that?
Wow.
That's how deep it is.
That's really deep.
And for a country that is probably the richest country in oil around the globe, it's unbelievable. A country that years like in the 70s, it was one of the most prosperous nations in Latin America. If it was not the prosperous one, it was a prosperous one. And this tells you how deep of a crisis we are now when 82% of the population is in poverty. They're exactly extreme poverty. There's something wrong there. And if people are not even able to be seen on TV, then we have to tell it to the people. We have to tell it to the world. What's happening in Venezuela is not human, is not right, and we denounce publicly this government that is not only a violent, repressive government, but they are also drug lords. The U.S. government, the U.S. Treasury Department has already made it official that Venezuela is, besides being a dictatorship, a government ran by drug cartels.
Happening in Venezuela. And I always tell them, it's not even donations, no. You need to tell everyone at your community, at your classroom, at your dorm, what is happening in Venezuela. Because people need to be aware about how severe things are in Venezuela. So we can make international pressure as well, because we need to make an international coalition of governments, of organizations, of institutions. Why? Because in Venezuela we can be fighting, but at the same time, we don't have the guns and they have the violence. They're killing the students. So the international community needs to act. The United Nations needs to act. The Organization of American States needs to do it, and they have been doing it. We met with them 2 weeks ago, and they are fighting a lot with us. So that's why, for everyone who is listening right now, please denounce and inform what is happening in Venezuela. Tell everyone what is happening in Venezuela. Not only for humanitarian reasons, not only because it's the right thing to do, but also for your own country. We maybe don't share the country we come from, but we do share the same values. We want liberty, we want opportunities, we want human rights, and we want justice. Yeah. That's why we need to do something. Because this is not, as Robert was talking, a fight between left and right or right and left. We don't care about that. We care about human rights. We care about freedom, about justice, about the things that we all share. That the things that we all think are the right things for any country. So that's what is happening in Venezuela. And the regime, because they have businesses with cartels, because they have this huge oil industry, because they want money and power, they're just killing students. They have put more than 5,000 students in jail in these 4 months, and thousands have been injured because they're using all the police and all the military brutality. example, just to give you an example, one kid, his name is Willie. He plays the violin. So his way of protesting was to go to the streets and play the violin. So, and that was all. Only playing the violin as a signal that we are peacefully protesting on the streets, and that's it. You know what they did? They put him in jail, they punched him, and right now he's deaf in 1 ear. One kid, 17 years old. Imagine that. So when you see that, and you see families that have lost a child simply because this child want a job, want freedom, we cannot betray those people. And we need to make a change in Venezuela because we cannot betray them. Because the change needs to be now. Why? You have more than 30,000 people just going from Venezuela to Colombia, just passing the border, because they need food, they need jobs. So we need to make a change now, because we can lose our country, and we will not surrender, we will not give up, because we need to make that change.
Toda la avenida. Y en un momento dio la vuelta, me pasó por encima y fue cuando me aporrió aquí la pierna y fue cuando tuve que soltar el violín porque no pude más.
Being a parent,
Right.
and seeing your kid and thinking of his or her future, and you're looking at them and you're like, we're in this country, what is the future? You know,
Right.
like the future could end tomorrow, you know,
Right.
the future may never come.
There is no future.
And the opportunities, you can't say, okay, you could go out in the world, you could be whatever you want to be. The fact that you can't tell that line to someone,
Right.
I think that's a detrimental
Oh,
thing.
definitely.
And I think that's something that needs awareness, and it just needs to be talking about.
Definitely.
The students have been on the streets for more than 4 months now. So every single day we have a different type of protest. All protests are peaceful. All protests are just to create awareness and to tell the regime that we are here to fight. We are here because we want a change. So in these 4 months of peaceful protests, the regime, they respond with police brutality. How they respond? Paying to paramilitary groups to kill the students. They have killed more than 135 students. 135 families who have lost a son simply because he wants a better future. That's all, no more. We are on the streets because we demand a better future. We are on the streets because we want jobs. Because when you go home, you see your father without a job. You see your mother without food on the table. You see yourself in the classroom with your friends, and everyone is like, we don't have classes, we don't have jobs, we don't have opportunities, we are starving. People are starving in my country. They go to the garbage and they eat from there. So for example, for myself, seeing one compatriot of mine doing that, that's why we need to, because we don't have law in Venezuela.
Right now in the streets, you know, people are not only protesting, like Jorge said, because it's not even a political issue no more. It's a humanitarian thing. You can't even find medicine in Venezuela. That's how extreme it is. You know, you see, now the people that are in the streets, they are not fighting because, oh no, we dislike this government. No, they're fighting because the basic needs, the basic goods that a human being needs to survive or need for daily use, you can't even find them no more. So when something like this type of dictatorship impacts your own house, you know, your own personal, you know, items, your beliefs, that's a problem, because politics shouldn't be that way. Politics should be to promote, you know, good behavior, but as well, you know, promote, you know, the basic needs, you know. I mean, like what the government in the U.S. does. But when a government tries to impose, you know, a will over on someone, then there's a problem. Look, people are no longer free, and they don't have access to living that life that they want to live.
You also need to protect liberty in your country. When I'm talking to people from America, from Canada, for Europe, I also tell them it's not only about Venezuela. It's about liberty in general. It's about democracy in general. So while you have freedom in countries like this one, defend your freedom. Never let a government tell you what to do, how to believe, or never surrender, and always fight for your liberty. Defend the justice that you have here and defend the liberty you have here. Because right now, you can defend it how? Talking in public, going to debates, writing papers. But in Venezuela, the only way that you can defend your liberty is to risking your life, and that is difficult.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the first thing, this is how you guys could help. This is how the world could help. You know, letting stories by Venezuelans like Jorge be shared. And one thing that it's very important to with regards to liberty, love our country, because our country is beautiful. And I know all the countries in the world are beautiful, but make sure that we use Venezuela as a model of not to be. You know, we don't want to be that country. Why? Because it not only with the political problems, but you know, it's just divided families. It's just divided, you know, the society in general. And what we need to do is care for others. You know, talk about these issues. We can't avoid them. Let's learn to respect each other, and make sure that even though someone else may have a different opinion or a political belief, respect it, and you know, make sure that we support free press, freedom of expression. That's how we should be doing. That's what we want, especially the world to know, to defend that liberty, and to make sure that we defend the liberty of others as well.